So without further ado, we have Jules with us via Zoom. Good morning, Jules. How are you this morning?
Jules, can you hear us?
Good morning. I can hear you well.
All
Good
right.
morning.
Totally not having a party here. But
I can see that.
how has it been, Jules?
It's been really good, and you will love this fact. I think I'm sitting in the Mia Motley chair. This is where she sat for yesterday's closing press conference. I know this will cause you a mild aneurysm, Brandon, but that's where I am. This is the Mia chair. So we had the closing press conference yesterday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And just to give you all a timeline, so the meeting did not end on CSME time, which, as I've told you all, is a time zone that is anywhere from 2 to 4 hours behind known world times. Everyone praised the conduct of the meeting by our Belizean CARICOM Secretary General, our Belizean Prime Minister who chaired the meeting, that it finished in a record time. Usually these plenary sessions don't finish until 9 at night. It finished more or less on time, around 5 around 5 p.m. The press conference started around a few minutes to 6, which I think it is the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley, who said that it is the first time that she has been able to conduct a closing press conference with the sun still showing through the windows. And that is the nature of these CARICOM meetings, you know. It's a CSME time zone, but Belize kept away from that, and so we're very proud of that. But so that was the closing meeting last night, and then this morning we move into the CARICOM Zika summit.
Yes.
We've already had a number of dignitaries from Central America arrive. That is the Vice President of Salvador. We've had the President of Costa Rica arrive. He arrived yesterday around 8, I think. And the big arrival, at least symbolically, is President Giammattei from Guatemala. He's scheduled to arrive at 8:30 this morning. And as we know, he's facing, I think there are plans for a national transport strike on Monday in Guatemala. There are plans for a national transport strike, and it's, all our nations are facing the same crises, and it's global. The national transport strike in Guatemala, and when you talk about a national transport strike in a country of that size, you are talking about immobilizing a large nation and multiple huge highways, and the strike there is going to be about food costs and fuel prices. And imagine our fuel prices are higher than the ones we see in Melchor. The last time I checked, it was almost $2 more on the gallon.
Wow.
But I haven't seen an updated comparison. But I'm saying that this creates the ferment into which all these leaders are heading, that we've heard of the failed promise of the CARICOM single market and economy. It was proposed 33 years ago, and it's still in gestation, CSME time. And we've heard of the abortive launch, so to speak, of Belize as this hub between CARICOM and Central America. But what the most earnest hope of today's summit and the most earnest hope of the meetings is that there will be an awareness now that, listen, we have each other and we have to survive with each other. And that was one of the focal points of the Prime Minister's closing remark, Belize Prime Minister's closing remark yesterday, that there is an agri-food plan for the region being floated by the Guyanese. Guyana is in some sense similar to Belize in terms of it is a large land mass. It is one of those countries that can act as a breadbasket of the Caribbean. And, a lot of our countries in the Caribbean are really just big rocks in the sea in terms of they're not islands that are self-sufficient. A lot of the islands are too small. They don't have enough arable land. They're mountainous or they're volcanic, as the case may be. And so now the hope is that with all that is facing us, Latin America and the Caribbean, Central America and the Caribbean, that we are able to say, listen, we have to learn to work together. We have to learn to eat what we grow, so that we are not importing, so that we're trading, as they call it, South, the global South, which means the poorer countries of the world. So really, the most earnest hope is that the exigencies of this historical moment, Ukraine, post-COVID, all those things creating rising, soaring, skyrocketing, unprecedented prices. I mean, oil closed at $113 for a barrel yesterday, I believe.
Wow.
The implications of that are frightening. I mean, because the most recent fuel prices are when it spiked up to 100. So you can imagine what the fuel prices will be going forward. I'm just saying that when these leaders come into this same room today, this is known as the West Room. It was a purpose-built room here at the Grand Carib for holding these important regional meetings. And when they enter these meetings, it is the earnest hope that they will be prompted by the urgency of the time they live in. So they're scheduled to be in here at 9 a.m. and they will. The CARICOM Zika Summit is only 3 hours. It will be finished by midday today, or that's the plan. It obviously may go beyond that, but the plan is for a CARICOM Zika Summit by midday today. And the importance of this can't be underestimated, and the importance of Belize utilizing its strategic location to have that, to serve as that hub, as that place for dialogue between these two super important, regions with shared interests.
Right.
It will be interesting to see what the outcome is and what actions do follow.
All right. So we're looking forward to hearing updates about that. Definitely. It definitely has an impact there.
Yes, absolutely. And if I could now return, since I've kind of straightened out the timeline and filled it in with about 3,000 unnecessary ancillary details, if I could speak about last night's press conference, it was a very neat moment. We had our CARICOM Secretary General, we had the Prime Minister of Barbados, we had the Prime Minister of Belize, Honorable John Buseno, and we had President Santoka of Suriname, who will take over the chairmanship in the next 6 months. And so it was interesting to see, and Renata, you will be able to key into this. There were 2 women at the head table, but in the Caribbean, we still only have, when they take the group picture of the leaders who are here, there will only be 1 woman. And there is still only 1 head of government or head of state in the Caribbean who is a woman, which is, of course, Prime Minister Mia Mottley. And
yes.
that is, that really stands out in these meetings. So I would like to show her remarks. She was, to say that she has rock star status is
understatement.
Understatement.
It's an understatement in the extreme. When you see the amount of selfies and the amount of people who are, in the words of one of my peers, fangirling her, right? I mean, she literally has a small cadre of low-intensity stalkers just constantly trailing her.
Brandon,
right?
excuse me, my bad.
You know business of bed? Anyways.
Excuse me, my bad.
But I'd like to queue up, I think Abdul may have it on his computer, her remarks on reparatory justice.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is an important, in the woke era, this is an important consideration that we start looking at making another request, because we did, the region did make a request for reparations. to the European enslavers or slavers who, are responsible for the centuries of exploitation of enslaved labor and of extractive industries that really took all they could from our countries in the Caribbean. And so I'd like to just put a small snippet of her remarks. If you could cue that up, guys.
They had it up just.
I think they had it up just now, but the audio was not playing as yet.
There was not an acknowledgement of the need for reparations. Since then, however, we've had the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. We've had a recognition by the global population, especially younger people, that there is a need for climate justice. And I think we're dealing with a world that generally is intolerant of the kind of inequity and poverty and discrimination that has come to characterize too much of the last 3 to 4 decades in particular of global activity and development. So we will send off the letters and we will hope to start a mature engagement on matters that are fundamental to us. And why? We had no development compact given to us at the point of independence, but there was a compensatory package for those who were slave owners, and there was a further package for the apprenticeship system. I think that my officials and advisors counted at about £20 million for the British planters who had slaves, and another £27 million as a result of the apprenticeship system. So that £47 million was given in the middle of the 19th century. Fast forward now, 130 years to Jamaica becoming independent, Trinidad becoming independent, Guyana becoming independent, Barbados, and we go down the line. None of us were given a development compact. We had to start providing for our people without the benefit of any source of development funding. We had to deal with lack of housing, lack of educational opportunities, lack of healthcare facilities, and we had to do this in spite of the fact that substantial wealth was extracted from our countries for centuries, in spite of the fact that substantial wealth was extracted not only by the governments, but also by the private players who were the owners of the plantations or the owners of the enterprises doing business and trade in our part of the world. And whether we like it or not, it is regrettable that the region to which we belong effectively was the modern crucible for racism in the
Right. Powerful speech there.
Absolutely, and why I adverted to her being a rock star earlier, it is not for superficiality. Mm-hmm. This is a woman of such thoroughgoing substance. Mm-hmm. She can speak extemporaneously on these complex, multi-century issues and distill or crystallize them into such forceful nuggets of meaning, right? When she talks about our region was a crucible for modern racism. It's really spectacular to see someone of that range and depth operate just in the moment, because she doesn't know what questions are coming. I asked that particular question, but her ability to speak extemporaneously on hugely complex issues is testament to her excellence, absolutely. But it is also so important for the Caribbean at this time that we have such a leader among us that we can claim that she's one of us, because this is why she can capture a global audience. This is why she's sought out for interviews all over the world by all the largest media enterprises, because she speaks with lucidity and clarity about issues that are real to us, which are oppression, which are exploitation, which are persistent global injustice and inequality. But she speaks about it in a way that is so enlightened and so lucid that oftentimes when we as oppressed people or people with a history of oppression speak, we often do so with a kind of chip on our shoulder. We're hurt. We have, as we always say on this show, we have multi-generational, intergenerational trauma. But when Prime Minister Motley speaks, she's able to articulate herself with such clarity, and while she speaks from a place of soulfulness, she does not take on board sometimes a lot of it's hard to speak about painful things without yourself being in pain.
Yeah.
And while we all share that pain, she's able to speak about these persistent climate injustices, which are now following years of economic injustice. And it's just one persistent trend, but she's able to speak about it with such a sense of righteousness and clarity that she's really the spokesperson for the region. And right now, and we could see why last night, how spectacularly she performed in this press conference.
Right, and I mean, to expound on that, Jules, it's not only that her speech is so enlightening, but she also puts actions to those words.
Yeah.
She doesn't just sit and speak, she puts action to those words, and that I really must commend her for. I mean, Renata, you can't blame me for the fangirl, man.
No, the thing what I want to just highlight, Jules, and I want to get your face in. I hope they zoom into your face. Jules has become a fanboy now. Did you not see the way how he spoke about her? So
I am one of the few media people here who have not sought out any selfie with any. I don't think I've ever asked
him. You don't selfie, but the way how you talk just now, Jules, not lie to me. Not pan lie.
I mean, I'm ex, but anyway.
No, I'm just saying that you know when and I have to say frankly that you can realize that you're in the presence of greatness of someone who can speak on another level with such extemporaneous wit and clarity. It's really you know. I don't want to overstate it, but when you think, I've looked at some of the other speeches she's made extemporaneously, and you're really talking about somebody with a gift for oratory and for presentation on the level of Fidel Castro, in my opinion, who is also from our region, from our CMC, but someone who can speak with such length and such a clear train of thought in developing ideas in a linear fashion, but incorporating so many elements from history and from contemporary affairs. Really, it's extremely special to see someone operate at that level.
Indeed, indeed. But Jules, thank you again so much for giving us the update about the Zika meeting, and well, expounding more on Prime Minister Motley's speech. However, not the party, but it must go on. The show
so
must
basically,
go on.
Brandon is saying that we're kicking you out.
Yeah.
And so we're bidding you farewell. We know that 9 o'clock you have to prepare. Look at, oh, wow, okay. You want to take a selfie in front of it? All right, okay.
Head of state, this means I'm important.
Okay.
All these flags.
I see.
At least they catch that on TV.
Okay,